COVID-19 has brought many hardships to the world over the past year. Some obvious, some not so much, but from long-term ill health effects, job loss, a weakened economy, a larger political divide, worsened conditions for refugees, homeless individuals, hunger, and a rise in depression, anxiety, child abuse, and domestic violence. Around the world, millions of people have been affected by this pandemic, from getting infected to seeing their loved ones being infected, and in some cases, seeing them pass away. This is an issue that we should all care about for if we want to get through this. We must be mindful of the problems we are facing and be an active part to the solution. There's almost no one person who hasn't been affected by this virus in one form or another. For me, this has been affecting me in many ways. I didn't have a real high school graduation. I didn't have my first day of college. I've had family members who have been affected by this, and I am being stuck at home, which is very irritating, for the past 8 months. The reason this is important is because in order to end this pandemic sooner and get back on track to our normal lives how we used to be, we have to discuss the problems that we are facing to find ways to prevent the case numbers from growing. The first issue we need to tackle is the large amount of cases and deaths. Currently today, the current death count by Worldometer in the world is 1.4 million and 60 million cases and counting. On top of that, there are 12.6 million people that are unemployed in the United States, and there's been a large drop in consumer spending. Although before the pandemic, the economy was doing better than ever before in America, to get back to those rates, we have to stay on the current trend without legislation. It could take years to get back on track before the whole pandemic started. It's hard to tell right now, but there has been a lot of data from previous epidemics like the SARS outbreak in 2003, where there was 30% increase in suicides in people over the age of 65. One can only imagine once the data is in how bad are people doing mentally in the current pandemic, which has been far more devastating and life-changing. In addition, there has been concerns about the victims of child abuse and domestic violence during this pandemic, and whether they are able to properly help during this crisis. All these concerns make the pandemic far more destructive and worrisome than just the headlines that we typically see. The cause of COVID-19 is to put too much debate and research. The main theory right now is that it's spreading mainly because of lack of masks, lack of social distancing, and people gathering in large groups. In large groups, particularly indoor gatherings, as well as COVID fatigues, not being real and conflicting information from government leaders isn't helping either. This is making it harder for the world, in particular the United States, from getting past this pandemic. Economically speaking, the extreme political divide, which has been bad for over a past decade now, is even worse today and prevents any systematic legislation from getting passed, thus pushing the burden extremely to the American people. President Donald Trump knew back in February that this virus was going to hit hard, not just on the United States, but the whole entire world. As a result, for the inaction, the American people did not have this information that they needed to protect themselves. On top of that, Donald Trump gutted the Global Health Security and Biodefense Unit created under the Obama administration, which was created to tackle issues such as these pandemics. Trump isn't the only one to blame. Chinese leaders for over a month tried to keep the details of COVID-19 a secret in fear of the economy's reputation for its own country. This prevented the WHO organization to spread this disease and not let people know about this whole pandemic. Even though we all know now that this has been hindsight, we are still tackling disinformation, COVID fatigue, and now we are upcoming into this winter. The destruction caused COVID-19 can be stopped and slowed down in many ways. People can help out by start using masks and other things that the CDC is recommending. CDC says that it's better to wear a mask, to not go out in public into big groups, and to stay 6 feet apart. 6 feet apart. And according to Forbes, a second stimulus passed by the federal government can have an important role in getting the economy back to pre-COVID times. It is not clear how much money it is needed to get back to the economy how it used to be, but Democrats are suggesting a stimulus of between $2 and $3 trillion. Coordination among states and federal government is key to stopping the spread of COVID-19. If one state has an outbreak, that negatively impacts surrounding areas due to the frequent travel amongst the population. Lastly, fighting disinformation will play an important role into getting the pandemic under control. Just yesterday, YouTube blocked One American News Network, a popular conservative news network based out of San Diego, for posting false information relating to COVID-19. The year 2020 has been a very tough year for us, and we all want to go back to our regular COVID-free lives and not worry about anything. In order for that, we need to face the issues that are happening and tackle them and work together. There are many steps that we can take together so that we can stop the spread as soon as possible and get back to our lives that we once had. Wearing a mask can make lives of those around us so much safer, because it's not just our illness and our health that is on the line, but the physical, mental, and economical well-being of the country. Thank you so much for listening.